Hi, I'm Amy Corr. I'm an elementary curriculum coordinator with the World Class Education Department, and today we're going to be deconstructing a Colorado academic standard and a world-class outcome. First, we're going to deconstruct a Colorado academic standard. We're going to be looking at a third grade social studies standard. So we're going to be talking about what students need to be able to do in order to identify the functions, structure, and origins of local government. When we deconstruct, we want to look at the skills and we want to look at the knowledge that these students need to have in order to be successful with this standard. If we look here at this particular Colorado academic standard, the only skill or the verb that I can identify is identify. So a third grade student in social studies, the only thing that the student needs to be able to do is to identify, which is pretty low on the Bloom's level of taxonomy. As far as knowledge goes, which is the nouns, they need to know functions, structure, origins, and local government. So for third graders in Colorado, in order to be successful at this standard, all they need to be able to do is identify these items. Okay, now we're going to deconstruct a social studies world-class outcome. We're going to be looking at analyze the characteristics of effective citizenship. Now, just like we did with the standard, we're going to break it up into two parts. We're going to break it up into the skills and the knowledge. Looking at this outcome, we can see that analyze is the skill. So we'll put that here. Analyze is very high up on Bloom's taxonomy, and so we want to be able to have kids do all the things leading up to analyzing. So in order for students to analyze, they need to be able to identify, they need to be able to compare and contrast, and they will need to be able to evaluate and understand. The thing that's great about the world-class outcomes is the highest level we want students to get to is analyze, but this right here, by deconstructing, it allows the students so many different other ways that they can start getting into this outcome. So it really allows them for a lot of access points, and it allows for teachers to address students' different needs. For the knowledge, which is the noun, they need to understand the characteristics of effective citizenship. So when we're looking at content, really this is what students will be doing in their classroom. They will be using all of these skills in order to understand all of these different things about local government, and also tying it into effective citizenship. In World Class Ed, we talk a lot about macro and micro content, and macro content are those big kind of conceptual themes. Right here is the macro content. What is a good citizen? And the micro content are those finer points that students need to know and understand, and that's the micro content from the Colorado academic standards. The next thing that we would want to do is think about how are some other ways we can access this information. So one of them is through the 4 C's. So I want to be very intentional with which 4C I choose. I think for this particular knowledge and skill set, I would want my 4C to be critical thinking. But there are so many different avenues that one can critical think, so we can go even a little bit deeper and look at a different performance area. And for the performance area of critical thinking, interpretation and analysis, I think, is the best fit, because really students are interpreting different types of things that the government does, and they're also using other skills to analyze. And then finally, I would want students to have a 21st century skill. And I think the best fit here is civic responsibility. We don't want teachers to try and force fit a 21st century skill and only really focus on them when they're appropriate. And to me, civic responsibility fits in well here.